Okay, so I will call the meeting to order at 7:13 p.m. We do now have a quorum. Elena, Joy, Kathy, and I. There are 4 of us. I know Rebecca said she wasn't coming, and I haven't heard from Joan, so I don't know. But we do have a quorum now. So if I pull up the agenda. Okay. Where's my scroll bar? Thank you for showing up. Okay, the first thing on the agenda is communication, because I have to make some apologies. I misrepresented some of the things that I said at the last meeting. And Erica feels like I need to clarify some of the things I said. It's important to understand I don't want to say hierarchy, but the way the library board is supposed to work. The directors, Deb and Hope, handle day-to-day operations. If there's anything big that needs to be done, it has to be brought to the board for the board to discuss. If there's then a question about something, as chair of the board, I can go to the town. But on day-to-day things, the big thing is we should establish one person as the liaison between the town and the library. I know Deb has said, you all do everything, you all know everything, but it gets confusing for people outside of the library if they call and ask one of you a question and then the other one returns a phone call. So it would just be nice if, when there was communication that doesn't need to go through the board, a single communication over a specific topic all went through one person. And it doesn't mean the same person has to do every single topic. It's just, if something comes up and there is an interaction with the town, it's just easier if we keep one person covering that topic. Does that make sense, guys? Hope's nodding yes. Joy's nodding yes. I don't see Deb.
Yeah, well, I don't think it is written anywhere.
No.
This is just a personal desire for the town, how the things would be handled, because between library and the town, the town official. So it's not like obligations. So we can discuss it and decide if we want to do it or not. If we want to do it, then we'll have to change the policies and put it in the policies.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's still a desire.
Right. You're right. There is nothing in writing that says this has to be done. Most of the business between the library and the town, from what I understand, has been through oral communication. There isn't a lot of stuff written down. It's just a request. And you're right, it isn't mandatory. They're not telling us we have to. It's just I don't even know what to say. It's just something that they were hoping to, just when a topic came up, just to talk with one person instead of both.
This is a desire. This is how it would be. That would be convenient for them. But it's a library's decision, because we are totally independent from the town. So we really have an authority to discuss it and take decision in according with our decision, whatever the majority thinks.
I agree with you. It is not mandatory. It's a request. And there is nothing in writing that says this. So anybody else have any feelings?
Yeah, I have feelings. Can
Hope,
I
you
say
have your hand
something?
raised?
I'll go ahead, Hope. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think just the confusing part on our end is because there's nothing we can go to that says, hey, this is what it is. And I know we're a new thing. So, I mean, personally, I'd feel more comfortable if there are just those guidelines, like Elena says, we voted and we know the exact wording or phrasing. Okay, this is what it is. Because right now it just seems real confusing.
I can't really disagree. I think there's been a lot of confusion. I have never been on a board before this. I've certainly never been chair on the board before this. And I've been chair through most of the pandemic, and things were a little loosey-goosey through the pandemic. But now that we're past the pandemic, the library is open on full hours, the town is completely back. This is when we have to decide. It's why at the last meeting I asked to get somebody to the Friends for a representative. We just need to start establishing a better set of guidelines, I guess is the best way to say it.
Okay.
Elena, you still had stuff you wanted to say?
I do, because I encountered during my time on the board, library board, I encountered couple of times the same problem, which I really did not like. I did not like personally. It has nothing to do with me as a, my personal opinion, but from the organizational point of view, like our board works as good as we can, everyone, as much as our time allows, and but at the most very important moments of if somebody resigns and we have to appoint someone, choose someone, suddenly the board doesn't have a word. None of the boards, like I was on the Board of Education has 30 days to pick a new candidate and approve it on the board. For this particular library board, it's just Board of Selectmen appointed. What does the Board of Selectmen has to do with the libraries? They have no people, they have no idea. That's a work to pick a candidate out of the election season. So we're really responsible to talk to the person, to know who is the person. So why the town, the Board of Selectmen is responsible for appointing some? For me, I would like to change it. And it's written only, I went through all this, but it's written only in our policies and in our statutes, on our side. It's not written anywhere else. So it's totally a decision of the library board if we want to continue this way. So if we want to reestablish our relationships with the town, I wouldn't mind to have a representative. I think that simplifies the relationships, make it easier. We probably can discuss it, but I would start from a different question. If somebody resigns, the board should have a full right for 30 days to appoint the candidate. Otherwise, we are like puppets here. We're doing the job, but have no really too much authority. So it was very inconvenient. So
And actually, oh, sorry.
Sure, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I've
Answer
never even-
that. Oh, go ahead.
I've never even thought about that aspect, Elena. So I'm glad you brought it up because I've never even thought about it. When I asked to join the board, I wrote a letter to the Board of Selectmen. I never even stopped to think about, hey, I should actually go in front of the board and talk to people.
Yeah, but
It's an excellent suggestion.
But it would be a right thing to do. It would be a respectful thing to do towards people who invest their time, who invest their life, instead of jumping through their heads and going just because the board of director to the Board of Selectmen. So, and it's in our authority because it is written in our policies and statutes, so we can change it.
Right, and that would be only to replace someone who has left that needed to be put in, because otherwise we're all up for election. And that's
Before,
the
yeah,
government.
yeah. It's only if somebody resigns before the term expires and
Right.
we have an opening. That's the only situation.
Okay, it makes a lot of sense, Elena, and it's something I never even thought about. Deb, you had something to say?
Yeah, we've had this discussion before. There are things written in our policies and bylaws and other places that do explain how that should be handled. We
It's
don't
in one place,
handle it
in one place.
Pardon?
Sorry,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Elena, what you said.
sorry. I'm saying it's just in one place. It is written and describes the process in one place.
Well, I would disagree with that, but we can certainly check it out. I have no problem with that. There are ways that things like, you know, I guess I could write a book on all this stuff I want to talk to you guys about with where this is concerned and all this stuff. I'm trying to make it this short. Okay, one thing, we're governed by the Connecticut State Library for one thing, the Connecticut State statutes and the Freedom of Information. When it's said as far as a town, how we're involved as far as in a relationship, it's true that they give us a budget, that they mow and snow plow our grounds, but that's pretty much the extent of it. It is as far as when looking for people to elect for being on the board, the directors, it is written that they do have a say in it, although we weren't allowed to last time. What you're suggesting is really good, and to some degree, there is already a practice about that. But I haven't over the years seen it happen. I certainly didn't see it happen this time around. The select person does have, I believe, the final say in whatever, say if somebody leaves the board. But the director is allowed to make suggestions as well as the people on the board. When in the past, directors would choose you people that they know were actively involved in the library. They were patrons, you'd see them all the time. They showed an interest in whatever. I know we had talked in the very beginning when it came to people being elected. I would love to see some kind of a job description, for lack of a better word, with people who would like to become on the board, as far as what something that would show them, tell them, again, in writing, what would be expected, what their duties would be.
Okay.
To help clarify and to see if people really want to do, you know, be a part of the board. It would, you'd have something that people could go by. I would love to see the board or us
Okay,
develop something
there
that we
is a
could
job
do,
description.
say the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, as far as letting people know what they're getting them, you know, selves into, kind of a thing.
Okay, there is a job description, Deb.
For what?
It's in that purple,
It is, we do have it, and very
Yes.
clearly, yes.
there is a job description for the board. And I thought,
No,
I thought
I
my
mean,
group
for
was in
people
this
who are gonna
package, so I
be
got up.
recommended for election before you get, I know there's job descriptions for the board members. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who would be interested in being elected, running for that position, for them, that the Democratic or the Republican Party would have in hand. So they would, or even the select persons have in hand, so they would have something that people would be able to understand what's involved.
I'm
And it
not
would be
sure,
something more than what you guys' job description would be, although I think that's a great place certainly to start.
we would have to look into whether or not we could do that. Because people just say, I want to run. And I'm not sure what the policy would be to say, hey, read this, make sure this is really what you want to do. I don't know what the policy would be on doing anything like that.
Me neither. I couldn't say that either, but I would wish we could look into it to see if that's something that we could do. I think it would be a big help for everybody all the way around. But it is something that, like I said, the directors and the board could be a part of. It wasn't just left up to the select persons, although they got the final say for sure. And they do as far as even appointing, not just electing, but have the final say. But you should be able to give suggestions as far as who you would like to see fill that, because you guys and the directors and the staff would know better and more than anybody else, you know, who would be an advocate for, you know, the library.
Okay, one thing that we could do in an election year, this is not an election year, next year is, we could put something, we could do it on the library website, we could possibly do it, you know, with flyers around town. If you're interested in running for the library board, here is the description of the library board, and get the job description out that way. But I don't think that we could just give it directly to somebody that wants to. We can put it
Oh.
out publicly. But I don't think we can just give it to somebody who says, I want to run, and then say, here, this is what the job description is.
No,
Yeah,
it would
so-
it'd have to go to the political parties for them to have, and because that's who they're dealing with, correct?
Elena?
Yeah, our policies with all job descriptions, including the board members' job descriptions, is a public information. So anyone who is running has a right to go and ask, hey, I'm interested, what is expected from me? So it's a public, open to the public information. So there is no need, I'm unaffiliated. So there is no need to get into Republican, Democrats, it doesn't matter. We are really we would be looking for the good people, but for
Right.
people who are ready to do the job.
And I would like to know whether or not somebody on the ballot had actually gone in and read that. Because I would guess there's a lot of people that don't read the job description, even though it is all the library stuff, all the bylaws and the policies and stuff are public, yes. I just don't know if
I've
people
never
actually-
seen anyone come into the library and do just that and ask or whatever. How, that's, I understand it's public and it should be, but I've never seen anybody do that. And I don't know why that would be the case. You'd think they would want to, but.
I
Yeah.
did. I did.
You were,
I don't want to go back there.
Elena, you were at the library with your kids growing up. You were always at the library. You knew all about the library. You made it your business to know about the library. There are people that run that don't have library cards and have never stepped into the library. So it's like, so
And-
that's what I'm saying, to make that available. So if anybody is interested, they
I
will-
do know that
Yeah.
within 2 weeks of my moving to this town, I had my daughter and I signed up for library cards, even though my daughter wasn't even here. She was off at college. So, and I had talked to some of the other people who had been on boards before. I knew Carrie Donaldson a little bit, and so I had talked to her. I might not have come in and actually read the bylaws, but I did talk to people before.
And we do have it online. All the policy plans and job descriptions. So you
Right.
don't have to go and ask, it's online.
Right.
Okay, guys, let's move maybe.
Um, Okay, so far, we've talked about the idea of possibly having one liaison with the town. Hold on a second. Since Joan's not here, I want to write some stuff down, which means I gotta find some papers, blank papers. I have a notebook here someplace that is just for taking notes at board meeting. And I'm not sure where it is. So let me just grab a piece of paper. Okay, so again, I want to apologize for misrepresenting the town and our relationship with it. But we have talked about possibly having a liaison with the town, and I'm going to bring this back up again. And I think Elena's right in terms of the job descriptions and stuff. I'm not sure we actually need it if it's online. If people were recruiting people to run, if like there weren't any candidates and someone was going around saying, you come into the library a lot, would you be interested in running on the board? I think that would be a way to tell them, maybe, here's a job description of what the board does. But if it is online and it is available, we probably don't have to just put it out anyplace else. Okay, anything else that I need to write down?
I've got a couple of concerns. So
No, Deb, no. Before we move on, is there anything that we had talked about already that I need to make sure I have written down? Can anybody think of anything that we did that I need to write down?
Do you need to record anywhere that I would like to be privy to last meeting's executive session notes?
Oh, that was brought up, that we should be able to discuss it here.
Okay,
Because Kathy was absent at the last meeting, she asked for copies of what went on in the executive session. And if you guys want to see, I can pull up the email, but it does say any board member who misses a meeting is able to get the information on what happened in the executive session, as long as it is not done publicly. And then we can say at the next meeting, which is now, Kathy got the information on the executive session from our last meeting from Joan. Is that correct? That's who you got it from?
I didn't get any information from her yet. I haven't been brought up to speed, but I know that I can, so long as we don't meet a quorum, because then it would constitute a public meeting that, you know, we'd have to have announced. So in other words, I still haven't been brought up to speed, but yes, that request was made clear to me, and how it would be handled.
Okay, so we will get you up to speed on that. Okay, again, is there anything that we talked about that I should be writing down?
Maybe we should just say that for the next, maybe within next few meetings, we would like to have conversation and possible decision about having liaison, about changing our policies, about
Okay.
bringing changes to our policies in different questions.
Okay, and I'm going to bring that back up again in a few minutes. So Deb, did you have something that needs to be discussed now, or should we go through all the beginning stuff? Because we actually haven't gotten to business yet, because we haven't talked about the minutes. We haven't talked about the treasurer's report. We haven't done the director's report. This before everything was just me trying to clarify how we work with the town and how things are done. So Deb, are the things you want to bring up appropriate for now, or should we just bring them up later after we do the minutes and all that sort of stuff?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I suggest we just move in according with our agenda, and when it's the time, otherwise we'll have to vote to change something. So I suggest just let's simplify it.
Okay,
it's fine.
so the next thing on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the last meeting.
Mhm. I would like to make a motion
Yes,
to approve the minutes from our regular July meeting. Was it July 13th meeting?
I'll second the motion, but I do want to make a comment. I was so confused when I wrote the agenda. It says the June minutes. That is a mistake. It's supposed to be the July minutes. Elena is
July.
correct. The agenda says the June minutes.
And it also says 7:008 p.m., just typo, so fix that.
So it's okay because the minutes from June I approved already. So it's just a typo. No?
Yeah.
Can we just consider it a typo?
Okay, does anybody have anything about the July minutes that they want to,
No, I read them actually very careful. So
I read them too, so. So we have a motion on the table to accept the minutes from the July meeting. All in favor, say aye.
discussion, no?
Well, I just asked if anybody had any discussion.
Sorry.
Nobody answered me.
Debbie wanted. Yeah, Debbie wanted.
Okay, I didn't see your hand, Deb. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So are we, you clarified in the beginning that you said misrepresentative of the town. Are we going to make any corrections on the minutes where they were
No.
not right, or how do you do that?
It will just be in this month's minutes that I misrepresented. I'm apologizing. We do not need to go back and correct previous minutes, because the previous minutes are what I actually did say.
Yes.
So these minutes will simply say,
Yes.
But people won't know what it's about, but that's okay.
well, if people
yeah.
want to know what it's about, in the minutes, it should say, I need to clarify what I said at the June meeting. People can go back and look at the June minutes and see what exactly it was I said.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Okay, we
Sorry.
have somebody trying to get in and they're having the same problem that Kathy did apparently. It's just saying joining.
Yeah,
So,
that link doesn't work well.
okay, so we finally got somebody else in. I apologize for, you're not the only one who had some issues getting in, but thank you for being here. Okay, so we have a motion on the table to accept the minutes from the July meeting. Any more discussion? Okay, if not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Kathy, I can't see you. Oh, never mind. Okay, so we have 3 ayes. And any nays? Any abstentions?
I'm
Kathy,
abstaining.
that's, I figured because you weren't here. So that was not a quorum of ayes. It was only 3 people.
No, but we don't need a quorum. We need a quorum for the meeting and the majority gets it.
Okay,
So we don't need four ayes to pass
Okay.
it.
then the minutes have been approved. And we can move on to the treasurer's report. Let me share the screen. Rebecca wanted to make sure that we understood that the town again is behind in getting things to her. And therefore, this is on the June budget, not the July budget, but she wanted it brought up because of the fact that this was the last month of the fiscal year. So revenues for the month of June were actually very nice looking at it, $6,800. I don't know what the miscellaneous income for 4,600 was, but it was nice, whatever it was. Total expenditures were 23,981, leaving an ending balance of 43,660, except that there are some outstanding bills still. Hope, do you know what those are?
You're muted.
I'm sorry. The miscellaneous income coming in, a good portion of that is the previous director's debt that we finally got to deposit.
That's
So
nice.
that's why that's such a high number. And we're still waiting on things like Action Air, different stuff with the building. I mean, they're higher expenses. So that's why we ended with such a high balance. We're still waiting. So
But
Right,
do
so-
we, sorry,
Yes, Elena.
sorry, I'm sorry.
No, it's
So,
okay, go
but
ahead.
yeah, do we have an idea of how many outstanding bills do we have and what's approximately is going to be left after?
If I
that,
can,
oh, sorry.
I have a list of things. One, keep in mind that when some of the money, a lot of the money was going to be used to it. Now we're hoping to get through ARPA. There was envelope work that was going to be done. There was work with the HVAC through Action Air that was going to be done. There are figures because you have them with the quotes that we, when we did the application for ARPA. We have a couple of bills that are still in dispute that we haven't paid for yet. Otis Elevator was $500. Kellogg and Sovereign, which is our E-rate, is a $1,500 bill. We needed to try to get all these things done before the end of June, but unfortunately we had no control over when people could do it for us. So it didn't get done in time on our end. They still have to get done. We're still waiting for people to do their job on their end. But the electrical company, D'Amico, they still have to install the light pole. That's $5,000, not to mention doing a couple other things. At the same time, we wanted our electrician to come before June 30th to install the security cameras inside and out. I have no idea what that's going to cost. Things as simple as when ordering magazines, some were able to get done before the end of June. Many of them had to the tune of $600 needed to be ordered after July 1st. We need some repairs done with, I don't know if I can take people's names or whatever, but we do have things like our front windows. People open them and close them incorrectly. There are a number of them that are busted now. We were going to have the person who has done other minor jobs for us do that. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to get to it in time either. The same thing, there are 2 toilets that need to have shimmies put underneath them because they're unstable. And that hasn't been able to get done yet. Things like we still have yet to hook up the cell phone with our Frontier company. That would have been just a monthly fee as far as applied to the current, to the budget that would have started. We got paint for painting the curb, yellow zone with the yellow zone marking paint. We were able to purchase a paint, but we haven't hired anybody to actually do the painting on that. Let's see. And at the time too, we had talked about having a berm put up with boulders. That was something that we had looked into as far as checking pricing, whatever. That would have come out of it as too, but I know that's something that was going to then go to ARPA or CIP, depending on what we decided upon. So there are a lot of things that were supposed to get done ahead of time that would have come out of that money, so that it would have all gotten spent. But that we're just at other people's mercy. So there's nothing we did as much as we could do. They're still open to be done. When they'll get done, we're still not sure.
Thank you.
Okay, does anybody else have any comments on the treasurer's report? Okay, so I guess we're just going to have to wait and see when those bills come in, and keep track of the fact that this was the quantity that was left over from the 21-22 fiscal year, and make sure that anything that needs to be applied to that year does come out of this $43,000.
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure as soon as we see the next treasurer's report, we're going to have more of this year's money in there. And so it's going to look different. Elaine, a question?
Yes, I just want to make a comment that we probably, even if we have a good leftover, I think maybe we shouldn't jump on finding how we can spend it, because the prices go up for everything. We can face a significant increase for gas, for oil, for electricity. So we would be a little bit covered. So I would just be conservative in spending this money.
I'm not saying spend the money. I'm saying make sure that anything that should have come out of last year's budget is coming out of this 43. Don't just go beyond that and say, oh, we have to have all of this spent. I just want to make sure that anything that is not budgeted for the 22-23 year does not pay for stuff that should have been paid for last year. Okay,
Sure.
did that clarify things a little?
Yes, thank you.
And anything that we have left over after all of those bills, then we can talk about what we want to do with that. Put it in an account, do something, whatever. Anybody have anything else they want to say?
Nope.
Okay. Then the next thing on the agenda is the director's report.
Okay, so this one was really quick one. Last month's drawing of a painting that was kindly donated by a local artist made us $10. This month's drawing is a huge basket for cat lovers. There's everything in there, books, treats, anything a cat lover will love. I think we touched on this a little, and probably will more in the future, is just, the different guidelines for, and we were thinking like town meetings, like ARPA meeting or any meeting, like, are we allowed to speak up, that sort of thing. So we were just trying to touch more on what we can do as directors and where we can speak, not speak, etc.
At public meetings, the town meetings and stuff,
Yeah,
speak. That is not a direct communication within the town. You're certainly able to talk at those. And the ARPA meetings, I wish they were not at 1:30 in the afternoon. I haven't been
I
able to
know.
make the last two. It's just, there is one on the 29th, and the 29th is the first day of fall semester for me. And I have a class that goes from 12:30 to 1:30. So
Yeah, it's a
I'm gonna
difficult
try,
one.
I'm gonna try and be there. It's just gonna be a tight squeeze. And it also, Charlotte's leaving, she's gonna be down here, she's leaving that day, and it depends on what time she's leaving, whether or not I want to come home and say goodbye to her. So I'm gonna try and be at the 29th, but I did not make the last meeting. I'm sorry, I was working. It's, Christina says 1:30 works for all of them, and it's better than a night meeting, but it doesn't always work. But any town meeting that is attended, if there's something that affects the library, yes, you're certainly free to bring something up at that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Then we just wanted to let you guys know that we are still experiencing flooding. It's not in the DMARC room anymore, but it's our carpets, and they're getting hit pretty bad. We're still not able to determine how it's coming in still, so that's still a pretty big issue for us.
Okay, and Deb told me that they bought the rocks for doing the trench outside, trying to drain water away from the building. And first I had the concussion, and then I broke my foot. And then it's just been too darn hot. It's supposed to cool down this week, so it's possible I can come and work on that sometime the end of this week. I just was not, I'm sorry, going to do it when the heat index is 104.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we just want to let you guys know it's still going on.
Yeah, so the point of that trench is the slope of the land outside that door is sloping downward toward the building. The object of the trench is to dig a trench around the transformer, but also dig a trench that goes away from the building. So if this is rainwater that's coming in, it will not all just flow downhill towards the building. We can get some of it to flow downhill the other direction. That's the idea. Yeah, Elena.
Yeah, but how come we did not have that problem before? Is it something broke, something wore out? So what's the reason that it started to happen suddenly? Did
Nobody
we call
seems to know.
anyone? Did we call anyone? Did we call any professional? Did we ask someone to evaluate and find out what's the problem?
Yeah, Deb.
We've had many people. We've had an electrician out. We had Eversource out. Did we hope have once? I know Troy once was looking at it, the Public Works, excuse me.
Yeah, they gave advice on it too. I mean, it
Yeah,
was
like
when,
we with the Montford company, they're out. And I don't think the trench is gonna really make heck of a problem, but we can have, it was suggested that we have the drain that's outside of that door professionally pumped out. That's a thought. It was suggested that perhaps there could be some kind of breaking down of pipe between the inside the wall and outside, not just going from the door out to the driveway, but alongside the driveway. It could very well be that the paving was done on the side parking lot and never should have been. So that could be a water retention problem, you know. So you're talking about, we're starting small. Have we had people look at it? Many different people, all giving different suggestions. All is going to be costing a lot of money, because the little things that we've done so far, which we thought helped, and to a certain degree they did, but it didn't take care of the whole problem. So something is still definitely going on that's bigger than what we've done so far. There are other options to look at. It's just kind of, I'm thinking picking one off at a time, trying next the trench, see if it makes a difference. If not, try, cleaning out the drain. If not, see if there's not some broken pipes, which they said very well could be. Just the weight of the ground, the earth moving. We're told that happens quite often. So there's two different places that there's piping that you can dig up and check out. If that doesn't work, or you could try taking the tar off of removing the milling off of the parking lot and see if that doesn't help. So there are things that could have been doing it. We just tried doing it with the smallest first, then the least expensive, with the hopes that that was all that it was. But as you're hearing now, that it's still coming in. It's finding a way in. We're
Thank
not
you.
dealing with actual water as much as we used to, but it is coming in where the carpeting in the hallway is.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, so who's giving the director's report?
Oh, just
Yes,
it.
so the last thing on there is just, Deb had noticed on our pay stubs that it said interim still under co-director. It was thought that we had established this a couple weeks ago. Tish down at the office needs paperwork if we did to update the changes.
Okay, I talked to Tish. I actually met Tish when I went in to get information on the health insurance. We currently, part of the reason for not doing this is we currently, and this is, I believe, the next thing on the agenda, do not have anything in our bylaws to allow for co-directors. So before we can do that, we need to establish job descriptions for co-directors. We need to establish that legally it is in our bylaws now. We are capable of having co-directors. And then once that's established, then we can get I told Tish I would get the paperwork to her.
Well,
I talked to she and Donna.
it's not that there's an issue with the co-director, it's the fact that it said interim.
I know that, Deb, but in order to say that you are fully co-directors, we have to have something that says the library can have co-directors, because right now there's absolutely nothing in our bylaws that allows for co-directors. There's no job description, there's no requirements, nothing like that. Which is part of why you're still as interim. I did think that last year I had taken that off, but when I talked to everybody over there, a big thing was that we do not officially have anything that says we can have co-directors. But that's on the agenda for today. So.
Okay, but what's been sufficing is that you have always had and have still a job description for a director. And you have two people co-directing.
That's beside the point. That's beside the point, Deb. We have a job description for a single director.
Correct.
And you cannot split that job description. That job description is for one person. In order to have co-directors, we have to have a job description that says we have co-directors and they together are doing these things in the library. We cannot just say, oh, we have a job description for a director, it works. Okay, Elena, you had your hand up?
Yes, just to clarify, I did not know that the town was considering Hope as an interim director. So maybe why wouldn't we just leave it like this? Interim director.
Because Deb doesn't
And
want it.
then,
They want
well,
it-
I would feel much more comfortable having a director and interim director than two co-directors, because that's if someone leaves, we are in a big problem with job
Okay,
description.
and that's the reason we need this clarification of having co-directors. And the job description that I wrote up splits the workload between the two co-directors, the workload that came off the job description of a single director. Because it is true, if one of the two of you left and we did not have this job description for co-directors, our only option would be to let the other person apply to be a director and to have a single director, because we have nothing in our bylaws for co-directors.
I personally cannot steal. I can't agree with that.
I
I don't
know.
think it's a good option. So if I think the job descriptions which we had for one director was supposed to be done by one person.
Mhm.
Now, if one of two leaves, then we split it. it means the new director will co-director will get paid the same for half. So I don't know, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, let's continue. Sorry.
We know, Elena, you have been the dissenting voice all along for the co-directors.
Sorry.
We understand your point of view. We do. It's just, we did have a meeting in which we did
Yeah.
approve these co-directors.
Yes, I understand it. So, but if we still have interim the director, I think that's a wonderful way out of the situation. We have a director and we have interim director, and leave it everything as it is. No, that's okay, guys. That's okay. I'm just throwing my comfortable thought.
Okay, so where am I?
Sorry.
Okay, so let me show you what
Yeah.
I have. Okay, so the first part of this simply talks about all the things that the co-directors are supposed to do together. That means buying materials, overseeing the library operations, hiring and training staff, and that one that says providing strategic vision and direction in collaboration with the library staff. These are all things that both directors should be working together to do. But then if you look down further, I simply took Director 1 and Director 2 and split the responsibilities. And the way I split it was, in this case, Director 1 is more administrative and Director 2 is more tech. And there was no reason for splitting it that way. It just seemed like an easy way to do it. But a big thing that we need to figure out. Okay, I wrote the qualifications. Since I had Director 1 as mostly administrative work, and I'm not saying that just because this is what the job description says that you can't do anything else, because if things need to be done, you do things. But the job description for a single director is an MLS and 3 to 5 years experience in a leadership position at a public library. That is what is in our job description. And I'm not trying to be obnoxious, but right now we have to figure out if that's exactly what we want, because hope you're working on your master's, right?
Currently, I'm not pursuing my master's at this time. Financially, it's very hard for me to do that.
Okay. But you do have a bachelor's degree. But
Correct.
I put in Director 1, bachelor's degree in library science or related field or equivalent experience, which means that we could have somebody in there who doesn't have a degree. Elena, was your hand up?
Yes, I was, but I don't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I thought you finished. Sorry.
Okay. This is something the board needs to discuss. And then the other thing the board needs to discuss is this. Is this going to be co-directors as a salaried position? Because if it is a salaried position, then you are eligible for the benefits. You're eligible for the health insurance. You're eligible for 1 week paid sick leave, 1 week paid personal leave, 2 weeks paid vacation annually. This came directly off our job description for the last time we hired somebody.
Where Pluto?
Hello? Somebody's talking? Hello?
We can ask them to mute themselves. Some of the visitors.
Yeah, I don't know who it was.
Oh, thank you, John.
Oh, okay, is that who it was? Thank you, John. I just didn't know who it was. When there's multiple people and I have something shared on my screen, I cannot see the entire gallery.
Joy's got her hand up and John is not muted. Oh, no, he is. There you go.
Okay, I'm sorry. Like I said, I can't see the whole gallery here. Yes, Joy.
One thing we might want to add to that benefits, they should be used, we should make something in the contract stating that they should be used within a year or lost. I know when Mrs. P was leaving, we had a big problem whereby she had she had saved all her vacation and all her sick days. So when she left, we had to give her $10,000, which was not in the budget.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I also have a question. Can I ask?
Yeah, give me 1 second to finish
Sure.
typing this. How does this look, Joy? Is that the kind of thing you wanted?
Yeah,
Okay, Elena?
Yeah, my question, when you separated the job descriptions, co-director 1, co-director 2, is it exactly what they are doing right now, or is just a
No.
formal?
This is just a formal thing that we have to have in our bylaws.
Well, I don't like it that it's not real, that it's formal. It should be actual work, because otherwise we will be like lying, not truthful, because that's what they are not doing.
But the thing is that at the bottom of the director's report, or the director's job description from the last time somebody was hired, it does say, or other things as needed by the library. So,
But are they doing what you put there? Are they doing at least that one? I'm sure there are plenty of other things, but is it something what each one of them doing separately, or it's just they haven't seen it?
Elena, I have been asking for a year and a half since I've been chair to delineate what Hope does and what Deb does. And all I get is we do everything together.
Okay, so I think it's unprofessional. And because I'm sorry, Hope and Deb, if you are doing something, you're doing a great job. But if some way you're unprofessional, I personally cannot support it. And whatever this is such a formality, and far from being truth, I can't support it. I'm sorry, guys. I can't. I think the whole decision with co-directors at this particular moment, I don't think we can take this such a serious decision to change all our policies with job descriptions just during one meeting when we have 4 out of 7 members
Oh,
present.
no, I'm not saying that this has to be voted on today, Elena, because Joan and Rebecca are not here. I just wanted to show what I had and ask some questions. So what I have in the bottom here of this page came from the job description, but it's altered a little because it does say as requested by co-director, but performs other duties and responsibilities related to those enumerated above, which do not alter the basic level of responsibility as required. That's where it ended on the other job description. And I just added and requested by the other co-director. But that is straight out of a single director job description. And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying that we're going to vote on this. I just want some feedback on this.
Yeah.
And we'll keep talking. Yes, Elena.
Yeah, I just want to suggest, I know it's not what everyone wants to hear, but if we will make a description, not for the director, we don't touch the director's their job description, but if we make the description of the interim director and mention there that interim director is not required to run the library. So if for any reason Hope leaves, we are not required to hire someone else. So then it would be much easier for us to support the library. We will not be like after everything.
Oh my.
John, are you talking to us? If not, could
Oh,
you?
I thought you guys muted me. Sorry. I thought you did.
I thought you were muted, so I didn't mute you.
I did mute myself. The problem was I could not hear anybody. I could not hear the meeting.
Okay, let me try and mute you from this end and let's see if you
All
can.
right. I apologize.
No, it's okay. Okay, so I muted you from this end, John.
Yeah.
Now
So
I don't
I
know.
suggest, yeah. So I suggest to consider to keep Hope as an interim director and have a job
Okay.
description for her as an interim director.
Okay, we are not talking about who's going to be assigned to who, Elena. That's a personnel issue that comes up later. This is just a job description. We're not assigning anybody to be director, anybody to be interim director. That's a personnel issue. Right now, we are just talking about the job description. Okay?
Yeah, well, I don't think we should support, I can support something which was not approved by Hope and Debbie if the job is really done and if that's a formality. And for us, we're just gonna put it in there, but if they quit tomorrow, we'll have to abide by this. So the new director will have this job description. And that we
Okay,
could be in problem.
That is not true, Elena. We are not stuck abiding by this. If one of the two of them decide to leave, we now have two different job descriptions, and it is up to the board at that point whether they want to hire another co-director or whether we want to go to the single director position. And then the person who is still left there has to apply to be a director. But none of this is set in stone. We do not have to live with this if something happens.
Yeah.
We have options.
Well, I do have a problem that it came from, no offending, I looked through, it's written beautifully. So it's just, I would prefer it to be provided to us by Hope and Debbie.
Which
So
I've
they
been
would
trying,
be,
which
I
I've been
know.
trying to do, Elena.
but then that's all I know. I know it took more than a year. You are a director, you are a chair from December, and I know you were asking from the most beginning. So I understand it. So I would say, I'm sorry, guys. I think Hope and Debbie, if they want to have it solidified somehow, they should really look through very careful, because how can I look through it? It is beautifully built, but I have no idea if it has any practical basis to it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. I was thinking more along the lines as if one of the two of them left, what kind of person would we be looking for to replace them? That was more what I was thinking of. But like I said, this is a work in progress. It's nothing that we have to deal with. And in terms of the fact that they are still listed as co-interim directors, I'm not sure that really, you can correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I'm not sure that really affects anything except what shows up on your paycheck.
Correct. That's the only place where, because you voted that we would be co-directors and not interim anymore. It just, they don't have the paperwork saying that in the payroll department at the town.
Right. I understand that. But right at the moment, we have no ability to say you are permanent co-directors until we have co-director status, which we don't have right now. So for a while, you're going to have to stick with the fact that it still says interim on your paycheck until we can figure this stuff out. Okay, now, so the big question I want everybody to think about is this, it says salary. Is this an exempt or a non-exempt position? Exempt positions are salaried positions. They get benefits, they get leave. They do not get overtime. If it's an hourly position, we are in no way obligated to give them any benefits, because benefits are only required by the state of Connecticut for a company with over 50 employees. I looked it up. Deb, wait just 1 second. But if they are hourly employees, they can get overtime. Yes, Deb.
I want to correct you on that. That is not true. It was, but as of July 1st, it has been changed. There is and I've got it right here. So I would hope and would want you to look further into it, because that was the case. And hold on 1 second, I will get it for you. Effective July 1st, there was a bill that was brought out. It happens to be called the OLS the OLR bill analysis is an act concerning the expansion of Connecticut paid sick days. They have it where as of effective July 1st, 2022, the bill covers all private sector employees regardless of their size, industry, or nonprofit status. So there were many changes that were made to that sick leave. If you looked a
Okay.
little further, that
Okay,
you need to be
that's-
aware of, just to let you know.
I will look into that. I did not see that when I pulled up the state of Connecticut stuff. But that only covers sick leave. It does not cover personal leave or vacation time.
Correct.
None of that is mandatory according to the state of
No,
Connecticut.
this is just sick leave when you mentioned it, that's all.
Okay. Yes, Elena.
So if I understand right, then if the director's position is going to be a salaried position, means the director is responsible to hire all needed personnel, and the director is not allowed to have any additional overtime hours to be paid, because the director is responsible to organize the job good enough to hire enough people to bring all the people who are required to do the job and the needed job in the library. Means if that's a salaried position, then there is no way we can pay overtime hours. And
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly. So that's the question. Are we going to keep, and this is, except for it says co-director, it said director. This is directly out of the job description that was posted the last time somebody was hired. It was a salaried position, 35 hours a week at a base salary.
yeah. So I would personally prefer to have directors on the salary, because if we'll have directors and hourly positions, then it will open the way for the director do not hire the needed personnel, but to do everything themselves. And I don't think it's the right way of handling business in the town libraries. That's my position.
Okay.
Also, I don't want to forget about the job description. I did not see any way mentioning budget. Did I miss anything? That they're responsible to provide the budget to the
Yes,
Board of Education for the
It should be
discussion?
way up in the top.
Did I miss it? Sorry.
If it's not there, it's my mistake. It should have been there. It was originally there.
The annual, so,
Okay.
okay, fine. In conjunction with the Board of Directors, develops it says the Board of Directors develops the annual budget and attends meeting
No,
to
it
support this.
says in conjunction with the Board of Directors, the co-directors develop the annual budget.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Thank you. Sorry, I missed it. I probably was fast. Thank you for helping me to find it.
Mhm. I was pretty sure I had it in there somewhere.
Yeah, because when we had that problem, we need to make sure that the director is responsible to provide something to start working for us.
Right.
Otherwise, it's not real.
Right. And then we as board have reviewed them and together
Yes.
we've made suggestions and stuff. But yes, the budget, we don't know what's going on a day-to-day basis. The base budget comes from the director.
Yes, okay, thank you. So that's all, thank you.
Okay.
So do you want to vote on something?
No.
Or we're just discussing now?
We're just discussing. I don't want to vote on this right now. I want people to digest it. I want people to think about it. I don't want to vote on this. I just want to present the fact that if these guys want to be officially listed as co-directors, we just need something in our bylaws that says we have the ability to have co-directors. So I want everybody to think about it, give me feedback. We can discuss it at a meeting where hopefully everybody is there and we can get more feedback. Okay, anybody else have anything they want to say? Yes, Joy.
Do we all get copies of that?
I
It's an
thought I
email.
emailed it to all of you.
Yeah, we do have it on the email.
I have to look for it.
I emailed it only to the library board, though not to the directors. It just went to the library board.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, and I sent it out, Joy, on the group email that says Library Board of Directors. So it should have been sent to all of you at once.
Yes, I do have it.
Do you want me to let you know when I sent it out? Okay, sent mail. Okay, I sent it out on August 4th. It says, the title of it is job description. There is an attachment. Okay, Joy, if you can't find it, I just forwarded the email to you.
I got it. I printed it out. I found it.
Okay. So like I said, this is just something to discuss, to think about. It is not something to vote on right now. But I do want us to think about how we're going to proceed. Okay. Anybody else have anything to say about these job descriptions? Yes, Hope.
I would say after seeing them, and if this is the way that we have to go for that status, you know, through the town and everything, that personally I have either done or know how to do all the things on both of your lists. But when it comes down to the breakdown, I personally do more administrative and the technology. So things like payroll, bills, and talking about that, if there could just be a switch there, that's
Okay.
more of what I do as the I don't know if, you know, that's for
Okay.
now.
Let me share the screen again. Okay, so tech right now is director 2.
Yep.
You want to move fiscal matters over to the other side?
Yeah, I do that.
Okay,
I would say we both order stuff, blah, blah, but stuff like schedules, you know, we do both work on the reports, but stuff like the schedules, billing, I do pretty much solely. Deb does know how to do it in health, but that's pretty much what I do on
okay.
top of the other
So
stuff.
scheduling goes on the other side too?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to reformat this because
Oh, yeah, definitely,
it's not
but
coming
just.
out. But yeah, that's fine. It's just, like I said,
Yeah.
I simply split, not knowing. So
No,
this is good feedback for me.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the friends thing? Should we move that to the
That's-
other side?
Yeah, that does do that more than I do.
Okay, so let's move this over to the other side then.
Quick question. When we have aligned these columns, whatever we do going forward, can you resend this list then, Karen Ann? So
Oh,
we
yes, yes,
look at it
I
one more
will
time?
definitely resend anything that
Okay.
has corrections on it.
Can we, when you do it, is there a way for Hope and Deb to comment on this? So we would know how good it coordinates with their real job?
Sure. Like I said, I didn't send it to them first time. I simply sent it to the library board to take a look at, but I can certainly send a copy to them and get feedback from them as well.
Thank you.
I would like feedback from them, actually. I would love feedback from them. Okay, anybody else have anything?
Yeah, to see it how you wrote it, because we do so much, it's hard now to see this, you can stop and take a look and be like, oh, okay. But yeah.
Okay, anybody else have anything they want to say about it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, if not, then I will get these new revised things back to people. And again, feedback, please. I would really like feedback. Okay, so where's my agenda? Oh, okay. I
So
actually did.
question then, I just, since we're not voting on whether we're doing salaried or hourly, is that something that we want to put on the agenda for next time? Like, are we supposed to mull this over between now
Yes.
and our next meeting or how? Yeah, okay.
Yes, I'll put it back on the September meeting for us to
Sounds-
talk about
Okay.
again. Okay. And do be aware that right now, the way I've split it, thanks to some feedback from Hope, but we have not assigned anybody to be a specific director yet. That hasn't been done yet. This is just a general co-director job description. So we can worry about that at some later point, but we will also take a look at that's whether we want salaried or not. Okay, I skipped over this and I apologize for that because the last thing on the director's report was job stuff. And so I went directly into that. I skipped over ARPA. ARPA did have a meeting on August 1st. And like I said, I could not go to it because I was working. But it really didn't make a whole lot of difference, apparently, that I was not there because we are down at the bottom that it has to be tabled to the next public meeting. We were not officially on the agenda last time they had a meeting because I thought I had to get them the stuff by 2, but it turns out I had to get it to Christina by noon so she could get it to the town by 2. So that was my mistake. So all we did was just present it to them. This was just a ARPA board meeting. This was not a public hearing. So they just voted on some things that had already been discussed at the public hearing. So we are now put off until the next public hearing. But on the upside, Kathy talked to Christina and they have removed some things. And so there is more money than they expected. So at some point, they may decide that they can open up requests again and we can put some more requests in. Okay, so just to let you know, the ARPA has our request. It has to go through a public hearing now. Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is,
That was
Debbie has a hand up.
okay,
Yep.
sorry, I pulled the agenda up. I wasn't looking at pictures. Yes, Deb.
Just a question. So if they open this up again, will that obviously means we would have a chance of the first application that we put in. Would we be able to, would you think that you'd want to maybe put in another application for anything else? Now that I know we had gotten different quotes after the fact, so they didn't make it in. Is that something we could want to consider? So
Yeah, if they open it back up again, we have to see what they've decided on the quotes I put in, which were the only quotes I had at the time. But we can certainly put more things in. We have to wait to see how much they say they have extra for money, but we can certainly put more of the quotes in and request more things. I think some of the really big budget items will probably not be able to go to ARPA because I don't think they're going to have that much money, but those are things that we should consider submitting to CIP in the fall. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so like I said, the next thing on the agenda is an executive session. So John, I apologize, but I'm going to have to put you in a waiting room and I'm going to have to pause the recording. To the recording, apparently whoever we had in the waiting room where I put John into the waiting room, he has left. So
We done? I'm done.
So we're to present to speak and there's nobody here to speak. So I make a motion that we adjourn at 9:08. Anybody second? Elena seconds, and I'm sure we all approve. Have a
Yes.
good night,
Well,
people.
good night. Be in peace, guys. This decision will come.